Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Marilyn is off getting her nails done. And I got a couple hours where I can, or an hour and a half where I can talk about whatever we want to talk about. And remember, you can always text me at 561-416-1100. For those of you that are new to this little downtown Boca Raton radio show with video, there we go. At 2:44 a.m., my pulse was 99 for some reason. That must have meant get up and go to the bathroom. Yep. There we go, and you can see this screen capture occurred at 3:04 a.m. Yep, that's my secret to show that November 30 day on my fantastical calendar, which is really quite fantastic. And it, I pay like, I'm going to say $30 a year. And $30 buys you fantastical so that it is multi-platform. It shows your appointments on your iPads, your MacBooks. I don't know about Android devices, actually, but I know it gives you multi-platform across all your Apple devices. I essentially use it on my iPhone. It is extremely handy to book appointments, annual reminders, quarterly reminders, any kind of reminders, and that kind of thing. So this is Saturday, following Thursday. We have a refrigerator full of all kinds of things. So we have to figure out how to eat out of our turkey, dressing, gravy. Oh, I made some noodles. I guess it's fettuccine noodles. Haven't had those in a while. So I boiled up 2 boxes of fettuccine noodles, and truthfully, and put them stuffed them in the back of the refrigerator, in these nice containers. And of course, I found them, last evening. So we had a nice, huge container of I made some marvelous turkey gravy. Oh, God. It's so good. By boiling up the neck and all those unmentionables that come packed with a turkey, you rinse them off real good, of course. My cat ate half the livers. Livers are really quite tasty to a cat. Apparently, they are bird eaters, I guess, in the wild. So their systems are designed to eat the guts of a turkey or a chicken or whatever. Anyway, so I made a nice big thing of gravy. I think I don't know if the boys got any of the gravy or not, but there's nothing like eating white meat turkey with the gravy on it. Oh, God. But anyway, so I cut up all the brown meat, because Marilyn doesn't like the brown meat. I like the brown meat. And I like both, but particularly the brown meat on Thanksgiving Day, when it's hot off the bottom of the turkey. We cooked 2. I don't know if I'll do this again. I think I'd rather get a bigger turkey instead of 2 little ones. And spatchcock it which means you cut out the backbone on both sides. The backbone runs right down. You flip the turkey over. Of course, it has to be thawed out. Cut out the backbone, and then open it up and lay it flat. So you got two breasts, here, and the two legs are on the outside edge. But it lays flat so that, the whole turkey cooks, the legs, the undersides, the turkey breast. It's all, it's all about say a 5-inch layer along the whole bottom of your big roasting pan, and then throw 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups of water in the bottom of the pan. You can elevate if you want to elevate a little bit. Yeah, not a bad idea to, let's say, cut 3 or 4 nice sized, large white onions. Cut them in half. Peel off the outsides, the nasty part of an onion, and then just lay them flat. So if you had 3 onions, that'd be 6, half onions. Put that on the very bottom of the pan, and then put the turkey on top of the 6 halves of onions, just to elevate a little bit off the bottom of the pan. So, and then you throw some water in there, which ends up being another good source of moisture for turkey gravy. Anyway, cook. It takes, I would say, you stick a meat thermometer in the breast, and it could take 45 minutes off the cooking time of a 24-pound turkey, which I think I'm gonna. I've tested all kinds of different ways of cooking turkey. And after you reach, the age of 80 or 75 or something, you should have this turkey thing pretty much figured out, since you've had, let's say, somewhere upwards of 45 years of turkey cooking. Yeah, after that, you should kind of be, I like to experiment a little, but, instead of having, we cook 2 little ones, and then just gave one of them to the boys, so that that's quite a takeout order, right? You just bag one of the turkeys, give it to the people that want leftovers. But I think I'd rather just get a 24, 25-pound turkey, spatchcock it, cut up the backbone, lay it flat, same rule applies. Actually, I couldn't spatchcock the 212s because the pan wasn't big enough, and I don't have 2 pans. If I had 2 pans, then I put 1 pan on top of the other, but I don't have 2 pans. I just have 1 pan, a big pan. They cost $100 a copy, so how many big pans can you store? Anyway, so once I got another pan, I'm going to spatchcock one at a time. So I think I'd rather just get 1 big one, quite frankly, and spatchcock it, lay it flat, like a 26-pounder, 24-pounder. That's probably the average sized turkey, fresh, unfrozen. Do the brining. The brining kit that I showed you, on Wednesday is marvelous. You can go right on Amazon and get the brining kit. I'll do it right here, live TV. Oh, there it is. Look at that. There, we got reserved from the last time I was here. There it is. I'll touch it. The magic of Apple touchscreen. It's like a computer with a touchscreen. They're great. I wouldn't have this MacBook Pro, but for the fact that Ecamm Live has not written the software to work on the iOS system, which is kind of silly because they already have it working on an iOS, what do you call it, MacBook operating system. Open it up so, I'm going to send a message to Ecamm. You really got to, come on, baby. You got to invest the money, time. You got software engineers that can do this. Put it out for, let some 14-year-old do it for you. Pay him $500 and let him do it. Test it and this and that. Yeah, boy. Some of these kids would love to make $500. Put it out for RFP, $500, whoever wins the contest. And but this Ecamm Live software is really it's hosting this broadcast, and it manages. I have a soundboard over here, which you can see the knobs up here. You see these, and then you got the buttons over here. So if I want some sound effects, whoops, wrong one, yeah. Whoops, you hear the crickets? There's no, yeah, you got a lot of crickets, and anyway, that's what the sound. That's a classic thing. You hear some sound effects, which I hardly ever use, but I do pipe in some applause. Open the door for all the people that are watching from outside the glass windows. Close the door, boys. Oh, there you go. I know. I'm not very studio conscious here. Anyway, here's the brining kit. So I just touched on the image, expanded the rosemary garlic flavor, which I didn't really get that. But, it has this, there's a tender turkey. Yeah, there's the ingredients: sea salt, organic spices, organic dehydrated garlic, it's organic everything, sugar, rosemary, orange peels, mustard seeds, and dehydrated onion. They have garlic. I have, what do you call it? Organic in front of everything. In addition, there wasn't enough. I liked all the seasoning and all the spices, but alright, so anyway, and it comes with a big bag, very heavy duty, large bag that'll hold a big turkey, like a 30-pounder, it certainly was big enough for a 12-pounder, but it has a very nice heavy duty seal, and the material is really strong. But I got an extra bag. Let's see if I can get out of here and get back to my orders, and I'll show you what else I got with that. See right here, delivered Sunday. Yes. What did I get delivered Sunday? Kosher coarse sea salt. There you go. There's a large version of that. Coarse grain sea salt, 30 ounce. The 30 ounce bag is plenty as a supplement to the brining kit I just showed you. Now, if you just want to brine the bird and forget the spices and all that, you just throw a bag of this sea salt in 1.5 gallons. You're going to add 1.5 gallons of water to fill up the bag. And of course, you're gonna fill up the bag with turkey. You rinse the turkey off, right? It says defrosted turkey, and then you put it in the brining bag, and then you put the sea salt in. Add about 2 quarts of water in there and slosh it around with the sea salt. Now the sea salt is going to dissolve with the not in 2 or 3 quarts of water. But that's just to get the bag open, you know. Then you put the turkey in, and then you put the rest of the sea salt's all in. Then you put enough water in there to fully cover the turkey. And if you were to put it in a big pot, it would take a lot more water. But since you can squeeze out the water and then seal the bag so that the water, you know, it'll take about 1.5 gallons. Now you're going to pitch the water so you can use, tap water if it's clean. If it's not, use bottled water. A gallon of, Boca Raton supposedly has the best tap water in, well, it's terrible, okay? As a frustrated chemical engineer, biochemistry, I learned a lot about water chemistry when you're in chemistry. You take, I didn't have any big, I don't know why I took chemistry, except it was like easy, and I couldn't figure out what else to major in. I should have majored in biology. About halfway through college, I decided to be a pre-med student. So then I had to catch up with all the biology. Ended up with a double major. Oh boy. 142 hours. You only need 120. But I had to take that extra 20 hours to catch up on all the biology that you needed as a prerequisite for the medical school part, which I didn't go to anyway. Took the MCAT test. Did well on it, got a couple of scholarships with it, and my girlfriend said, you know what, my father was a doctor, I never knew who he was, because he was always taking care of patients. And I'd probably be one of those, because once you start helping people, how do you say, I don't want to help people, I think I'll go home and play with the cats or something. And meanwhile, your patients are, where's Jimmy? Where's Dr. Jim? He's swimming around in the pool, sorry. Die Wednesday. No. So I can imagine, it's very understandable. So, that's the trials and tribulations of being a medical practitioner. These career nurses, the same thing. You just get so involved with your job, it's hard to, they damn near have to throw you out of there for you to stop doing what you do. You get obsessed with helping people that drastically need help. You don't go to the hospital, because you got the sniffles, Anyway, sea salt for the turkey. And it's blessed by Rabbi Levovitz or somebody. Yeah, I'm kidding. Anyway, kosher sea salt. There's a rabbi somewhere that looked over the process of forming the sea salt and refining it and packaging it. Comes in a nice little airtight Ziploc bag. So if you don't use all of it, you can zip the bag up. For 2 12-pounders, I used about 1.5 bags, because you gotta throw in a full cup. Let's see if this thing tells you how much volume it is. Net weight 30 ounces. Environmentally protected waters is wind and solar evaporated. Okay, so they rake it into piles, you can see, from pristine salt waters. Yeah, so it's sea salt, purified sea salt. There you go, sea salt. Owned and operated in the Pacific Northwest since 2007. All right. The #1 source for dynamic sea salt from around the world. So this is, oh, you got all kinds of flavored sea salt. Look at this. I didn't see this. Look at that. You got pink sea salt. You got black sea salt. Heaven forbid what that's from. I didn't see this on Amazon. Anyway, I just down in the upper left corner is the one I got apparently. I don't see. You know, the salt is what. Yeah, I'll have to figure out how to get some of those. See if they have them on Amazon. Anyway, that's the sea salt we used because there's not enough salt in the brining kit, which that doesn't make sense, right? You probably couldn't taste the difference, but I know you want to have at least a cup of salt in the gallon of water. And since I used a gallon and a half of water, I figured there's enough salt that came in the brining kit, plus, you know, a full cup of salt from this bag, which cost $12, you know, as a, what do you call it, member. And, yeah. You got one 33-ounce pack. There's a 14-ounce pack. What does that cost? $9. Nice. Look at the 30-ounce bag for $12. Yes, sir. That way you make sure you have enough. Yeah. So that is ingrained in our memories forever. You got Celtic sea salt. You got all kinds of different sea salt. Anyway, you got sea salt. You throw that in the bag. You throw the turkey in the bag. You fill it up with a gallon of water, or at least, probably a gallon and a half of water. And you squeeze out all the air. Oh, by the way, you put the turkey in upside down, breast side down. That way you're sure the white meat is covered with the water. So in case you didn't seal the bag all the way and some air got in there, the part of the turkey that wouldn't have been submerged would be the underneath side, which is the side where the backbone is. And you don't eat the backbone. At least most people don't. It makes for a marvelous turkey. Oh, God. I'll have to really study sometime what the salt does. I mean, it must break down, you know, these cartilagey kind of striations that are in turkey meat. Meat comes off the bone very nicely, not fall off the bone. And you put a meat thermometer in there when you're cooking it. So anyway, when you're all done with the brining, which I brined it for, you know, I filled up the bag with a gallon of water at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I brined it all the way until, or maybe it was, it was like 9 o'clock at night, 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And brined it until, you know, the next, you know, until noon. Or I don't think I I think I disassembled the brining package with, you know, drained the, you know, the water out of the salt water out of the bag and threw away the bag. And I didn't rinse off the turkey. I made sure I shook it, made sure all the brining water was out of the insides. Pat it dry with paper towels. Throw them all away. Because you have all kinds of seasoning and stuff that's all all over the outsides of the skin, which, what the heck, help flavor that sucker when you're eating it, after you cook it. You're going to put McCormick's chicken or turkey seasoning all over the outside, poultry seasoning all over the outsides. A little pepper. You don't need any salt because it's had plenty of salt, embedded into the skin. So you just pepper the skin a little bit in case you want to munch on some portion of the turkey skin. After you peel off the skin, or some people, since the skin might bake into the outsides of the white meat. Instead of slicing the turkey this way, and getting these big plates of white meat, I used my hands and a spatula. This is after it's cooked, and it's set for about a half hour. I used a spatula to take off these big chunks, the largest chunk you could possibly take off. You scrape the rib bones and pull off, this big plate of white meat. And you put it on a meat board and you cut it this way. So you got these little turkey steaks, they're like this big around and about, 3/4 of an inch thick. And it's nice because everybody can serve themselves. It's a nice way to serve the turkey. A gentleman by the name of Mr. and Mrs. Ralph Tipple lived up in Palm Beach in Wellington. They invited us over for Thanksgiving dinner 1 year. How nice is that? We get invited to someone else's house to have turkey. Yeah, very nice. And that's what they did. They cooked it. They cooked the turkey. They, I believe they spatchcocked it, and they put it down flat on a big grill and grilled it outside on the grill. Keep the outside, yeah. Keep the heat on the outside. Don't fill up the oven on the inside. Anyway, they grilled it outside, had a meat thermometer in it, and when that sucker got to 165 degrees, take it off the heat. Yep. And then they did what I just said. They got their hands, or they got a spatula to lift off as large a chunk of the white meat that you can, and then cut it this way, put it on a meat board, and then cut it into 1-inch steaks, with the skin on or whatever, and it makes for a beautiful plate. Yeah. I had a picture. Let's see if there's any way I can find that quickly. Quickly is a interesting word when you're on. So you can see all my pictures on here. I'm just going through to see if I have a picture of that turkey. There's a piece of pumpkin pie that I made. I was team meat. We broke up the divisions of authority for this dinner into, we had team potato, and those Marilyn and one son put together the potato casserole, which you got to peel all the potatoes, a 5-pound bag of potatoes, and then you slice them in a Cuisinart. You cut them to 2.5 millimeter thick slices. I have an old Cuisinart. It's probably 15 years old. Big, heavy motor in it. I mean, the sucker must weigh 8 or 10 pounds. Instead of these little whiny little garbage motors that they cheap, this is a heavy-duty Cuisinart. it was priced at, like, it was like a kitchen store. It was priced at like $260 retail, which of course you don't buy that. It was on sale, so it was marked down from $300 to $200, and then there was another sale on that. So 3 went to 2. That was 30% off, and then you got 50% of that. So 3 went to 2, and then 2 went to 100. I said, I'm walking out. I'm taking that one. You got one of these fresh in a box? I'll have it. I just put that in my cart, and I was probably in there looking for salt shakers. Walked out with $100 piece. But it is a marvelous, and instead of having all these blades, they have a rotating engineered device. So you dial up the thickness you want. And 2.5 millimeters, you can go 3 millimeters. So 2 was a little bit too thin, 3 was a little bit too fat, 2.5 was perfect for slicing the onions and slicing the potato to make the layers with the cheese and the butter and the flour that you put between each layer, and you keep building up the layers. And then on the very corner edge of this casserole dish that is 14 inches long and probably 12 inches wide and 5 inches, 4 inches deep. So you fill it right up to the top with these layers of potato and onion, salt and pepper, flour, and little dabs of butter all over the place. And so you make like 5 layers of this, press it down, and then in the corner of the dish, you pour in milk. And it soaks in all the layers. And that's the reason why you have flour in there, because the flour, mixes with the milk. And the milk, goes all through the entire layering. So you pour it right in the corner. And because you're pouring in slow, all the, there's no bubbles, there's no air pockets. And it gradually fills up all the way until you basically, soak it in milk all the way to the top. Regular whole milk. So then you get, all the calcium and the milk fat and the butter, and you cook that. When you cook that casserole, it takes like 2.5 hours with the same heat that it takes to cook the turkey. 350, whatever the hell. I think we cooked the turkey at 325 or 350, and it takes all 2.5 hours. The time it takes to cook the turkey, it takes to cook the casserole. You don't need a meat thermometer in a casserole. You just stick a fork, in it, and make sure the potatoes are soft. Because there's nothing worse than having a casserole where the potatoes aren't cooked soft. It's like eating a hard piece of potato in potato salad. No, you got to make sure those potatoes are soft. And in potato salad, you you cook up the potatoes and then you slice them. Or you slice them and cook them boiling water. And when the potatoes are soft, you drain it and then, make the potato salad. You might quarter the slices in potato salad. But in this big casserole, you have the nice discs of potato, that are that big around. Yeah. Anyway, there's my apple pie, which was spectacular. I had that for breakfast one day. There's hard-boiled eggs. The turkey should be right in this section here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. There's all the stations. So if you had 5 people and they had one job apiece, see, there's Team Potato with the cheddar cheese and the yeah, and the potatoes and the potato peeler. That's in one. That's a casserole dish. Yeah. This is for the corn pudding, which is that jiffy mix with cream corn, whole corn. There's always a question whether you drain the corn or not. To me, you throw away the drained water, but what do I know? There's Team Bean casserole. Gotta have that with mushroom soup and mushrooms and stuff. Here's the the stuffing. We always make the stuffing out of the turkey. Don't believe in stuffing the turkey with stuffing. I mean, that's one way of doing it. But, you don't want half-cooked stuffing. And if you cook the stuffing right, then the white meat's overdone. Cook the stuffing in an external casserole dish. You can add, the turkey. When you boil up the turkey necks and the back and all that kind of stuff, all that fluid, you can use that fluid to make the stuffing mix. Anyway, there's Team Stuffing. And what is this? This is there's for the pumpkin pie, and there's sugar in there. There's pecans. Oh, that's for the candied yam potatoes. Marvelous. Yep, there's extra pound of butter laying there for 4 half sticks. There's a half a pound of butter there. So this doesn't show for Team Pie, and it doesn't show the turkey itself. So I was Team Meat and Team Pie, and everybody else had to do these things. But the whole process is like 4 hours. You break your neck for 4 or 5 hours, really. To make all these side dishes. Holy mackerel. And, we did it. And, yep. And then you eat for an hour. A lot of work. But, you do it once a year, and it's a family thing, and everybody takes one of these dishes and learns how to make one piece of the whole puzzle of making your turkey dinner. Now, off season, meaning not Thanksgiving Day, you can do the same kind of a thing with a chicken. You can roast a chicken. So every let's say 3 times a year, or every quarter we do something. For 3 quarters we use chicken, and for 1 quarter we use the turkey, the traditional Thanksgiving Day turkey thing. Anyway, so that turned out good. We have a refrigerator full of stuff. You only got a few days to, you don't have a lot of time on that. Doesn't last in the refrigerator forever. No, our refrigerator is running at, like 38 degrees. There's one of the last, whoops. Yeah, where we go? There we go. There's our pictures. Our fresh photos. Favorites. There's the favorites. Yeah, this is all post-election. I'll show you some of these. These are New York Post. Is a publication that's been floating around Manhattan and the 5 boroughs. This is November 14th. Thursday, November 14th, where the traditional president-elect meets with the outgoing president, assuming there's a change in power, which every 8 years there's at least. In this case, Trump was, president in 2016 until the year 2020, and then he got beaten by Biden because Trump was, he was trying to rip out the roots of the deep state. He got impeached twice. I mean, the Democratic Party is just, they lose an election and they're sore losers of the worst kind. They don't just go back in their corner and shut up and try to help the incoming president do his thing. God, they're beating him to death. Well, he got reelected. So Biden didn't do well in the first debate, and they ripped him by the back of the neck, and they put Kamala in there, the vice president, the current sitting vice president. They put her in to run up against Trump, and they fed her with she was way overmanaged. She couldn't talk. If you ask her any question in the book, and she said, I grew up as a middle-aged thing, and then what? What's this word salad? I don't know who come up with that expression, word salad, but oh boy. Yeah. She was word salad. She'd pick up on a keyword, and she would spin that keyword and I don't know. She was so overmanaged on how to answer a question, or because you don't want to make angry some group of people over in the corner. Because when you have 300 million people that at any one time could be listening to you, pardon the expression, you're going to piss off 5 million people somewhere, So, but you don't ignore the 80% of reasonable people that want to hear a real answer, for the sake of, avoiding aggravating the fringe 2.5 million people. And she was so overmanaged that she never could answer a question. And then there's the debate on whether she should have been on the Brogan, broadcast, where he does podcasts. Amazingly popular, has 20 million people, 14 million people listening to whatever he has to the people that he interviews. And she couldn't undergo a 3.5-hour interview with Brogan because she wouldn't answer any of the questions, and Brogan will drill down and say, why aren't you answering my questions? He'd drill down so hard that she would have to answer questions. And it probably would have done her a lot of good because she would have actually answered some questions and not been able to do the word salad thing because he's sitting right across from you. And, he keep drilling you until you finally came out with an answer. And it probably would have done her a lot of good. But she wouldn't. So Trump is the life of the party. I'm going through, these are just the covers. The Late City Final Edition. Thursday, November 4th. I'm not going to read all the dates, but they're all since he was elected. There you go. Life of the party. How Trump won more young people, more black and Hispanic men, and forged a new Republican coalition. Yeah, I mean, what the heck? It wasn't a landslide victory. That's a bunch of Republicans patting themselves on the back. It wasn't a close election. All our elections are close. You got 45% of the people are ours, 45% of the people are D's, and you got this 10% in the middle. That's a little bit of swaying of that middle 10%. And I don't believe by the time you have election day, there's this, to me, there's no possible way you have an undecided vote. I mean, that is a media myth. Forget that. There's no middle. There's no, granted, the middle 10% actually, is like the drift of of how the swings left and it swings right. The media, the public, when they vote in every 4 years like this for the president, or every 2 years for the House and the Senate, a third of the Senate and all of the House. It's an interesting way they have all these overlapping time periods. Anyway, but instead of having a really, when you have 140 or 100, in this case, about 150 million people voted, okay? Out of the 200 million people that could vote, 50 million people sat on their asses, pardon the expression, that didn't go, really? You're that busy you can't pre-vote or, stand in line election day? Or go in, they have early voting, which that's good, supervised and fair. I don't like the mail-in, forget that. That's up in the liberals, that's a Democratic way of cheating, in my opinion. Because they mail them out to everybody. Well, the mailing lists aren't any good. 15% of the population moves somewhere else every year. 15%. And this comes right off the U.S. mailing, change of address forms that are filled out. They added up, divide, it's about 15% of the population in our country moves every year. That means every 7 years someone moves. Everybody moves every 7 years. You can cross-check that against, you have a 30-year loan. They pay off every 7 years because people move and they sell their house and the loan gets repaid. So the average mortgage life cycle is about 7 years. That's why the mortgage rates are pegged on the 10-year Treasury bill. The 10-year Treasury. You take that rate and add a couple of points to it, and you'll find that the home loans are based on the 10-year Treasury and add 250 basis points, which is 2.5% to the 10-year Treasury. And guess what? You're going to be real close to what the 30-year mortgage rate is. Yeah. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, life cycle of the life of the party. There's Trump with his thumb up. Team Trump. The Pres-elect assembles, a shake-up squad. You got Kristi Noem, the sitting governor of, I guess, South Dakota. Peter Hegseth, which is, he was, 7 or 8 years ago when he was going through an ugly divorce. He apparently had some kind of a physical relationship with an adult woman, and he was giving a speech at a hotel somewhere in California, Southern California, and so he gave his speech, whatever it was, the topic, and of course everyone retires to the cocktail lounge, during this convention setting, where every day someone else spoke. He has speakers all during the day or whatever. I'm going to say it's a multi-day event. And so he had a tryst with some young lady of majority age, let's say mid-20s. That's a guess. It wasn't like underage. It was, a mature woman, 27, 30, 25, I don't know. They didn't go into any specifics on the age of the female person. Anyway, so he had some kind of thing, and, I don't know. Maybe he likes rough encounters. Anyway, her thigh had some kind of bruising on it or something. And that's also a little bit of a guess. But I heard something about something in her thigh. But it's not like she was like black and blue and got punched in the face, or, like she was beat up. It was, anyway. So 4 days after this tryst in his hotel room, the video cameras showed that he was walking down the hallway, arm in arm with this young lady. No, wasn't like, she was struggling to get away from him. She was, quite happy to go into his hotel room, after they have a couple of cocktails and get wired up in the bar. People don't make the best decisions after they've had like 3 glasses of wine or something. Anyway, 4 days later, she files an action against Hegseth for aggressive sexual encounter, something. So there was a police report created and all this. He wasn't charged with anything because, like it wasn't a rape kit and all this stuff. She was just, physically assaulted, I think was, so she complained to the police that she was physically assaulted. So, when you're arm in arm, it's hard to, there's no referee blowing the whistle when the hand goes up. Okay, enough, you're choking me to death. So that's the problem. It's one word against the other. And of course, the courts are full of those things. Anyway, so she finally, after the police report's filed and all this stuff, then they sealed it for some reason or other, because he was a media type and she was just a regular type. He was working for Fox, as one of these hosts in the morning. 20-year, decorated military fellow, graduated Princeton and Harvard. Harvard, Princeton, Yale, for a millennium have been the premier high education. I mean, you cannot be a tree stump and get in Harvard, Princeton, Yale, particularly a white guy. you have Asians, you have blacks, you've got, every race, color, and creed, because of, diversity, right? The, the DIE, diversity, inclusion, and equity. What a disgusting way to run a country. We don't care whether you're the best for the job, but you check off one of the equity boxes or the inclusionary box, like we got to make sure we have all the colors, all the creeds, and all of this and all of that represented. Bullshit. Oops, sorry. We want the best person in a particular, job that you're filling, not someone that checks a box off that might not be as competent, right? Competency is it. So if you're a white guy, forget it. You're on the bottom of the list when it comes to, the DEI culture, because white male is the largest segment of the population. The second largest would be, not necessarily by nose count, but, because you got to have women in you got to have women in certain positions. No one ever says you got to have a white male in a position. That I'd like to know what position that is. Maybe someone that hangs on the back end of a garbage truck. Yeah, if you can get a white male in there, that would be a diversity job, because the black males are the strongest beasts that we have on this planet. The white male is the second strongest. I'm sure there are a lot of people that will disagree with what I just said, but from a diversity perspective, that's a weasel word for, I don't really know the numbers. Anyway, so Hegseth has a little aggressive behavior with women problem. Now, should that keep him out of being Secretary of Defense? I don't know. We'll see how much presidential political power Trump is willing to exercise to try to force feed, so to speak, Peter Hegseth into our diverse Senate. Because you got some ladies in the Senate that are, well, I don't know if we really want to confirm when we know that much about this guy. God knows what we don't know. So he's, I'm sorry to say, now they found an email from his mother. His mother wrote an email to Hegseth. Somehow or other, one of the newspapers, I think one of the New York, maybe it's the New York Post. They got a hold of his mother, Penelope. And Penelope Hegseth wrote him an email in 2018, I think, if I read correctly. It said, "Oh, you nasty man, and you beat up the women, and this and that." Because he and his wife were getting a terrible divorce in that period of time, and apparently she sided with his wife instead of him, because they had 5 kids or something. Oh boy! And then she decides to get rid of him because he's, whatever he is. She decided she wanted to get away from him after the 5th kid. Kids don't make things better. So you don't keep having babies if you think you want to get away from your husband. Well, maybe if we have another kid, that'll calm him down. Wrong answer. Certainly the wrong answer with Hegseth, because he was, someone, she didn't, divorces. There's always 2 sides to that story, and I don't think she's talking. And they haven't found her. They found his mother. So instead of beating up Trump because he's already won the election, they're beating up all the cabinet positions. because that's the only thing the Democrats have left to beat up to do. So the liberal media is torturing every one of Trump's picks for cabinet. Yep, that's what's going on. Gimme. This is the governor of the state of New York, and there's such congestion in New York City that they've decided to put I believe it's a $9 tax, like a toll. You want to come into New York City? So you come in from one of the 5 boroughs trying to get into Manhattan, it costs you $9. And that'll shut down the congestion, because there are only so many people that are willing to spend $9 to get into the city. So if anything, you're going to double up with someone else to share the toll, or you're going to say, the hell with it, let's do a Zoom call. Maryland's on all kinds of Zoom calls as a banker, which is not a bad idea. You know, you can have a 5:30 Zoom call. Maryland can drive home and take the Zoom call from her iPad, which I have set up on a on a small like tripod thingy, so that the iPad camera is up a little bit, so you're not looking underneath their Adam's apple or looking up their nostrils. Get the camera up a little bit. Come on. I have this camera up a little bit. Yeah, I got it like eye level. You look straight across. I only show you, the side view, because the front view, I'm afraid of scaring people. Front view isn't that attractive anymore. So I got the lights turned down. I'm doing a side view. Oh gosh. I guess if Rush Limbaugh can do it, I can do it. I got the Rush Limbaugh microphone, it's coming in from the boom on the side. I got they've got this. I bought this long before I decided to do this little radio thing, or podcast, whatever the hell it is. It's live. It's a live simulcast. I don't know if I ever said this before. I'm supposed to say, see on the top? Please join us live. Just settle down and listen. You can put the headphones on. You can do other things while you listen to Jimmy babble on with my variety of topics that I talk about. Have a conversation. Or just sit and listen. What the heck? Maybe we have something in common, or maybe you'll learn something. Who the hell knows? I have my Constitution handy. Right here. It fits right in your pocket. Everything that governs our government. Anyway, this is a simulcast between 3 live social networks at the same time. You can hear me on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or Twitter Live. The handle is, the @ sign thingy, FAU for you. I've been an FAU instructor, faculty, adjunct faculty member in the College of Science for over 20 years. Yep. I have my letter written by a member of the College of Science, a senior member of the committee, and they voted unanimously, 100%. So the College of Science said, yes, let's have Jimmy in here as an adjunct faculty member teaching principles of digital photography. And in year 2000, 2001, 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, digital was pretty cutting edge. There were a lot of photographers, professional photographers. I shot professional sports photography for FAU. And there were a lot of guys standing next to me, guys and girls, that were shooting film. Then you go develop the film, and then you make prints from the film, and then you can see whether the hell you got the shot or not on Thursday. 3 days after you took the picture. With digital, whoosh, the picture pops up right up in your view screen in the back of the camera. My first camera was a DCS 560. D like dog, C like Charlie, S like Sylvester. DCS 560. It was a joint venture camera, can you believe it? Because Kodak was one of the known sources of producing a exquisite imager. So they were into the imaging digitally, can you believe it? The largest producer of film came up with the best imager, and Canon chose Kodak to manufacture the imager and put it inside their best sports film-based camera. So where the film plane was, they put the digital imager, and they didn't have to worry about the sprockets and the feeding of film, because the imager was just stationary behind where the film would have passed. It's the precise distance to the proper focal length of the lens, so it was like in focus. Yep. DCS 560. I paid $20,000, $25,000 for that camera. $25,000 for that camera. The spare battery was $1,100 a piece. Can you believe it? I had 3 spare batteries. Because you go out, on a professional event, you had to have a few charged batteries with you. Because battery's only good for like taking 100 shots. And you got to pop the battery out and put another one in. No problem. And just an extra $3,000 or $4,000 in spare batteries. And of course the image, the compact flash card, that's what it was called. CF card, compact flash card. 250 megabyte card. Megabyte, not gigabyte, megabyte. 250 million byte card, which would house maybe 100 shots. Yeah, and the image resolution was 6 megapixel. So my $25,000 camera cost the imager cards. They were $600, $700, $800 a piece. Well, you had to have 4 or 5 of those, right? I mean, you had to have your pocket full of those things. I think I had 3 of them, 4 of them. 4 25 megabyte cards. 250 megabyte cards. That would hold, 20 or 30 images, because the file size was about 6 megapixels. So that's 28, per, so you're about 50 or 60 images, and you filled up a CF card, a 250 megabyte card that cost you, let's say, $500 a piece. Can you imagine? Now you can buy a terabyte card, which is 1,000 megabytes, for $100, right? That's crazy. 20 years later, they figured out how to make the cards. I was pricing them out because I was going to get one of those cards, like to back up my MacBook Pro. Get a terabyte SD card, which will fit in my digital camera. So it's like universal. use it as a backup for either the computer, or I could use it as the card in my 45 million pixel camera made by Canon. They turned out to be, they decided, Canon's a big company, really big company. People don't realize Canon is a global, everyone thinks Nikon. No, Nikon is, 1/10 the size of Canon. But everyone thinks, Nikon spends a lot of money in advertising, and Canon does not. They just don't spend any money in advertising, hardly ever. When they produce a new camera, it becomes a news item. So you see it in the magazine and so forth. They're not paid articles. It's like news. So, a news writer of technology might investigate the Canon. I have a Canon R5, mirrorless, no mirror, no flapping of a mirror up and down. It has a shutter with the lens, or a focal plane shutter that sweeps across the imager, exposing the image. It sweeps it real fast, like a thousandth of a second, or 500th of a second, or 10,000ths of a second. The shutter moves along, and the faster the shutter speed, the narrower the slit is that slides across, which gives you the effective speed of the shutter. It's not like the shutter is open for 1,000th per second and totally closes. No, it does it just by focal plane. It just slides across. And the higher the speed, the narrower the slit is of light that's allowed to expose the imager. Yeah. So, I have a Canon R5 camera, shutterless, mirrorless, and I have mirrorless lenses. I sold all the lenses that required the mirror and the flapping shutters and all that, because there's a 20 millimeter difference in how far away the focal plane of the lens corresponds to where the film would be, or in this case, the imager. So, if you use a film-based lens that's designed for Canon cameras, you have to buy a spacer that's a 20 millimeter spacer. It's exactly 20 millimeters. And that pulls the lens back away from the imager. And then you can use your film-based lenses on the mirrorless camera. Canon designed that all in the system so that, people that had, lenses, when you're a sports or professional portrait photographer or whatever, there are different lenses for different purposes. Someone that's in portrait photography, might have a 75 to 100 millimeter lens to take the perfect, like that picture of that lady there, the governor of New York. If you're going to take a good, oops, sorry, just whack the thing here. Bump. Sorry. There's your speakers in your car falling off, popping your ears. Yeah. Anyway, someone that takes a lot of, professional or semi-professional photographer, or a real fancy family photographer, which is where I started. I just like to do things with quality. I'd rather do a little less of it, but have the best equipment. Or take the longest time to study the topic, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, So I was a family photographer, and then I became semi-professional, taking action sports photography, starting in the year 2000 with FAU football. And I convinced one of the assistant coaches there to give me photo passes so I can take pictures of FAU sports. And since FAU football was new to FAU, they were very accommodating to have, a photographer with good equipment come out there and take pictures of their sports team, which no one knew existed. Now they're a nationally known team. They have their own stadium, and they bully the photographers around. And you take pictures for them, and they say they're my images. Go to Hades. I'll let you have my pictures, but don't tell me that they're yours. No, they're mine, and I'm giving you the permission to use them any way you see, please. And if that's not good enough for you, then the hell with you. I'm not taking pictures for you. And I didn't say that to anybody because, you don't want to, insult people that you worked with for 20 years. I just stopped taking pictures for them. That's all. They came out with this thing I had to sign. And I said, this is not fair. It's not right. I take pictures for a newspaper. They're not your pictures. They're my pictures. I put them in a newspaper and I get photo credit for them. They say picture by Ginny. They're mine. I have the copyright on them. You may have them. You may use them any way you see fit. But I'm the photographer, and they're my pictures. I'm not taking these pictures for, my family. I'm taking these pictures so that you may use them. That's why I'm taking the pictures. But they're my images, and I'm giving you permission to have them, to use them, I should say. You get not exclusive use privileges. You get use privileges. Now, if you and your lawyers can't work that way, then I guess I'm just not going to take pictures for you anymore, even though I'm giving you the pictures. And sometimes I give you really good ones, which you've used. The College of Education has used. Other, colleges in this university use your sports images that I take for you. It's not just FAU sports. College of Education, the College of Science, they all get a shot at using these shots, for their academic purpose. So, stop being greedy bastards. You want to use these documents for all the students that are taking pictures, on field. You want to treat them that way, that's fine. But I'm not going to get bullied this way. I never had that conversation with anybody because I didn't want to, hurt anyone's feelings. So I just stopped taking pictures. I just said this, take all this heavy equipment out on the field and sweat it out. Yeah, I'm too old for this anymore. That's basically what I told them. They just stopped showing up. Yeah. I stopped showing up last year. So that's my story with that. Anyway, so we were into the photography, and I've been teaching there since the year 2000. And digital photography 24 years ago was pretty unique. I had film photographers looking at me and saying, "Oh, you got to take the digital pictures because we have grain." I said, "Yeah, that's called distortion." I don't have that distortion. My images are clean. You have film grain. The granular nature of your pictures is because of the chemistry that's applied to the film that you're using. And it's not fine-grained enough because you need high speed, and it gets more grainy when you turn up the ISO. Used to be called the ASA, but the ISO, you turn up the ISO and you get more grain with film. But with digital, because the images are so fine, because they have pixels. So you have grain, I have pixelation. But with a 45 million pixel camera, you can really, reverse pinch and get down to see the license plate on that car that's a long way away. Or you can see, the whiskers on a football player through the helmet across the field. With grain film, you would be able to notice that. But with my digital pictures, you can see if he shaved this morning or not. Anyway, just giving you an example of what high-resolution digital is all about, as opposed to the grain you had with film. Now, guess what? Everyone's taking digital pictures. It took 20 years, 24 years, okay? Because in the year 2000, in 1998 or something, I bought my first digital camera for $25,000, the DCS 560. You can look it up, DCS 560. It looks very much like the camera I have now. Same basic shape, maybe, the one I have is just a little bit, maybe a quarter-inch narrower. About the same weight. Batteries, you can buy them for $75 a piece instead of $750 a piece. And the cards that you capture the images on, of course, $18 instead of $1,800. It's quite a difference, 1/100th the price for the ancillary pieces, or 1/10th the price for the battery, and 1/100th the price for the memory, the storage card. Yeah. But I was one of the first, not the first, but let's say the first several thousand photographers that took pictures. I think the serial number on my camera was like, 650. I mean, the serial numbers on the cars is in the hundreds of millions today. But the camera that I had, the serial number was like under 1,000. Give you a hint. How many people are going to pay $25,000 for a camera? Well, I was a serious amateur photographer. Yeah, I was one of the first in the digitals. And I wrote a book about it and taught, at the university about it. So, I had fun with it. The people don't need my classes anymore because they got it all figured out, so to speak. No, I fill up the classes, and there's plenty of tips and techniques that I give them that they never thought of before. All right, Stand with Pete Hegseth. There you go. He's your 20-year Marine, 3 deployments. Actually was shot at, not like our sitting vice presidential running mate, who never was shot at. He had a 20-year history, but he was always behind. And when he finally got deployed, he quit. Figured, shit, I'm not going to... He went to Italy. That's about as far afield as he's ever gotten. But he was way behind the lines. When he got called for deployment, he came back to the United States and decided, I think I'll run for Congress. from Minnesota. Pete, on the other hand, was a Princeton Harvard graduate, so, he was, you would call senior management, from the platoon level or something. I don't even know what I'm talking about, because I never got in the military. I don't even know the order of chain of command, whether you're a colonel or a captain or I don't know who's who and who's on top of who and what it really means. Anyway, he's trying to raise money. Not him, but his supporters, the legal people and, what the Trump organization, what the transition team needs to help with the communications with the senators to try to convince some of the senators that maybe wouldn't decide in his favor. You can only have 3 senators fall out of line and he won't get confirmed. There's Brandon and Daniel's little puppy dog, which Brennan has put a blanket over top of the dog while he takes a nap. He's got a pillow on the bed. Oh, my God. All right, the clear and present danger. The New York City is getting the joke that this immigration thing is a mess. And a lot of these immigrants, are migrating from the border states up into, the center part of our country, but particularly like New York or Chicago. You got he's giving the cameraman the finger in case, and they got it blocked out. Like we can't, the readers of the Post don't know what the middle finger looks like. We don't put pants on our middle finger, right? But they got it blurred out for some reason. These editors are like, they're so woke. It's a joke. What's this say? Kenneth Ganalo, head of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office in New York City, told the Post it would take a lifetime to catch the thousands of Big Apple migrant criminals unless local sanctuary laws are rolled back. Well, I think that's what's going to happen, or else their cities are destroyed. I mean, they have our military, our homeless military people that come back from deployments are sleeping in the streets, and they're giving these illegals fine hotel rooms to sleep in. And our war veterans are sleeping in tents on the sidewalks. What is backwards about that? Oh, yeah. That's a great idea. You wonder why these here's a 2-year-old kid who's come across the border, has a Post-it note in her hand with the mother's name and her phone number as she gets pushed across the border into, I guess, where she comes through, Texas or Southern California. She came from El Salvador. So someone, she got pushed into a caravan. Someone had to take care of and feed her and give her water and so on kind of stuff. But she came across the border, and no one's in charge of her. She looks around. Mommy's not here. Heart-wrenching symbol of Biden's illegal immigration scandal. A 2-year-old crosses the border all alone. A crime against humanity. So you can read the little Post-it note here on the side. This is the heartbreaking moment that Border Patrol officers find themselves with with an unaccompanied 2-year-old girl from El Salvador, holding a note with only the name and telephone number. Who knows who the name is written on there? Biden's open door border has led to this humanitarian crisis. It's a stain on our nation. You bet it is. This is terrible. Yeah. So the MTA, this is the MTA is the train system and the traffic, trains and traffic, MTA. So we have a congestion tax. So they're saying it's a laughing track. Okay, carve that turkey. There's the president with a president-elect with a knife and fork in hand, and he's got some of his buddies sitting around with him. One of them is Elon Musk, is showing Trump around the entire Musk enterprise. He went over to watch the Starship take off from across the water from a safe zone. You feel the rumble of those engines a couple miles away. Anyway, you can see the vice president there. You can see Elon Musk over on this side of this picture. Then you got Vivek, and you got RFK Jr., who's like the Health and Human Services guy appointed. And you got Dr. Oz picking up a spot in the administration. And they're all having turkey together. Baloney left. Here's the anti-Israel. They're sitting all across, Fifth Avenue, so that the parade cannot cross. Well, guess what? The New York City police dragged them out by their ears and arrested them. Get off the streets. You're blocking traffic. Yeah. See, our woke administration won't get in the way of that stuff anymore. Well, you have free right of... yeah, bullshit. Get off the street. We're arresting you. Because it's a hazard to good of the many. Because ambulances and fire, they can't get by your stupid blockade. And by the way, we got a parade coming, so either you got last chance, either get up or we're arresting all of you. And that's what they did. So that's what that's all about. So, when you look into the president's eyes, you can see that, they're not lit up with 100% of the energy. They're like lit up like, where the hell am I? The guy's overaged. And everybody's different. One of the founders of Home Depot is 95 and sharp as a tack. You may not be able to run around the track, so he's physically, disassembled with age, but not mentally. But everybody ages differently, and in the case of our sitting president, You know, he's lights out at 7 o'clock. So when the camera catches him with these poses, it's just because, you know, he's older than he was. These are clips. You know, the stuff with Mexico and Canada, you know, Trump is using the tariff business as a bargaining point. Yeah, we won't have the 10% tariff on your if you shut your border down instead of letting people crawl across our border with you. Shut your borders down. Arrest these people on your side of the wall. That's what's going on with Mexico and Canada. And they're squealing like stuck pigs because they got away with it for the last 4 years. There you go. That's my story on Friday. Yep. Oh yeah. Look, there's the cleanup. They did a pretty good job. You know, Marilyn and Daniel did Thanksgiving evening. But all the big pots and pans I had to do. Friday morning. Yeah, it took a few hours. No big deal. I didn't want to do it that night. I was just too tired. All right, pumpkin pie. Ooh, the eye of the tiger. Royal Palm Yacht Club. Brennan was working there. Part of the crew that fed half of the Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club membership. There's 700 houses inside the Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club. Housing, average house is $13 million. That's the average house price. Waterfront houses are, you know, 30, 40, 50, 100 million. Non-waterfront housing, interior lots, whatever, probably, you know, 5 or 6 million. Adds up 13 million average. This is a symbol, like a porcelain piece that's set in an ice sculpture. This is ice. I just picked that up to see the logo. A little reverse pinch. And the other ice carving they had, Happy Thanksgiving with a couple maple leaves in there. That's a charcuterie board that Marilyn made up for us. It had grapes and cheese and rolled up salamis. There's a deviled egg. Had a little chip on the edge of the egg there with the peeling of the egg, apparently. There's another view with a meat board that Robin gave us with shaped in a turtle. There's a turtle head made out of some metallic thingy. So I set up the picture that way to show the turkey napkins Marilyn had. There's that you saw. I have a grandchild that's driving a Tesla, and look at this piece that got sliced out of the tire. Talk about a danger. It's a driver's side front tire. So I did a reverse pinch on a picture of him while he was standing in front of this car. And I noticed that tire was... You better do something about that tire, kid. Plus, when you get a flat tire in the front, you lose your steering. Hello? I'm looking for the full-face picture of that. It's the grandchild on the right is the one with this. Let's see if I can find that car picture. Going up in time here. Backwards in time. Yeah, see, that's what my camera... Whoops. That's what my camera looks like. See it right there? Boom. Instead of R1, it's R5. But that's a typical lens on there. I had that lens, I think. This is a GIF file I grabbed off of something that was advertising that camera. I can't see grandson picture with the tire, but anyway. Let's see if I can look at it with one of these, where there's a I'm looking through my text messages. Lee, Robin, Daniel. No, it's not that one. Let's see if it's on here. No. How about this one? I don't think it's on this one either. I'm looking for these group chats, you know. Let's see if it's on here. This is... Anyway, we have a grandchild that's... I wouldn't be on that one either. Oh, it's probably on this one. Because there's Robin with her car. Come on, baby. Come, oh no, this has the cats. Oh, no. How about this one? Ooh. Yes. All right, so here's the picture that I got. Number 2 grandson standing next to mother, Robin, and he's standing next to his Tesla that that mother gave to grandson or son. And I did like a reverse. Let's get the picture. Anyway, you can see the notch out of the tire. I said, hey, let's take care of that tire, baby. The tires are $400 or $500 a copy. Unfortunately, they're specially designed for the Tesla. Since there's no motor, you know, in the front, it's electric. And the electric motors are pretty much silent. There's no transmission, so you don't have that noise. So they're so quiet inside. They design special tires that have ultra low road noise. Now there's still road noise, but it's half the volume of the noise that you would get, you know, in a typical tire. So I did a pinch like this and kept on reverse pinching to the point where you could see that tire, and that's where I got the other image anyway. So that's yeah. All right, we've been yakking here for an hour and 45 minutes. I think we'll stop. Marilyn's 11:45. She should be coming home, or maybe already is, and we may want to go out and get something, or stay in and eat turkey stuff. I'm good either way. We can stay in today and go out tomorrow, or go out today and tomorrow. Either way. I took you through all the front covers of the New York Post. It's fun. Yeah. So I just go through my photo album there. Oh, talk about reverse pinching. But you can find the pictures either through Time or yeah, I voted. There's a butter. Maybe they put the Indian back on the butter package since we're not going to be so woke anymore. Yeah. But these photos, I take these snapshots so that I have things to talk about. Anyway, I'm getting off the air. Have a great weekend. See you Monday morning.